Mount Fuji or Fugaku, located on the island of Honshu, is the highest mountain in Japan, standing 3,776.24 meters, 12,389.2 feet. It is the second highest volcano located on an island in Asia, after Mount Kerinci on the island of Sumatra, and seventh highest peak of an island on Earth. Mount Fuji is an active stratovolcano that last erupted from 1707 to 1708. The mountain is located about 100 kilometers, 62 miles, southwest of Tokyo and is visible from there on clear days. Mount Fuji's exceptionally symmetrical cone, which is covered in snow for about 5 months of the year, is commonly used as a cultural icon of Japan, and it is frequently depicted in art and photography, as well as visited by sightseers and climbers. Mount Fuji is one of Japan's 3 holy mountains, along with Mount Tate and Mount Haku. It is a special place of scenic beauty and one of Japan's historic sites. It was added to the World Heritage List as a cultural site in June 22, 2013. According to UNESCO, Mount Fuji has inspired artists and poets and been the object of pilgrimage for centuries. UNESCO recognizes 25 sites of cultural interest within the Mount Fuji locality. These 25 locations include the mountain and the Shinto shrine, Fujisan Hongu Senjin-taisha. Mount Fuji is an attractive volcanic cone and a frequent subject of Japanese art, especially after 1600, when Edo, now Tokyo, became the capital and people saw the mountain while traveling on the Tokaido Road. According to the historian H. Byron Earhart, in medieval times it eventually came to be seen by Japanese as the number 1 mountain of the known world of the 3 countries of India, China, and Japan. The mountain is mentioned in Japanese literature throughout the ages and is the subject of many poems. The summit has been thought of as sacred since ancient times and was forbidden to women until the Meiji era in the late 1860s. Ancient samurai used the base of the mountain as a remote training area, near the present-day town of Gotemba. The shogun Minamoto no Yoritomo held Yabusame archery contests in the area in the early Kamakura period. The first ascent by a foreigner was by Sir Rutherford Alcock in September 1860, who ascended the mountain in 8 hours and descended in 3 hours. Alcock's brief narrative in the capital of the Tycoon was the first widely disseminated description of the mountain in the West. Lady Fanny Parkes, the wife of British Ambassador Sir Harry Parkes, was the first non-Japanese woman to ascend Mount Fuji in 1867. Photographer Felix Beato climbed Mount Fuji 2 years later. On March 5, 1966, BOAC Flight 911, a Boeing 707, broke up in flight and crashed near the Mount Fuji Gotemba New 5th Station, shortly after departure from Tokyo International Airport. All 113 passengers and 11 crew members died in the disaster, which was attributed to the extreme clear air turbulence caused by lee waves downwind of the mountain. There is a memorial for the crash a short distance down from the Gotemba New 5th Station. Today, Mount Fuji is an international destination for tourism and mountain climbing. In the early 20th century, populist educator Frederick Starr's Chautauqua lectures about his several ascents of Mount Fuji, 1913, 1919, and 1923, were widely known in America. A well-known Japanese saying suggests that a wise person will climb Mount Fuji once in their lifetime, but only a fool would climb it twice. It remains a popular symbol in Japanese culture, including making numerous movie appearances, inspiring the Infinity logo, and even appearing in medicine with the Mount Fuji sign. In September 2004, the manned weather station at the summit was closed after 72 years in operation. Observers monitored radar sweeps that detected typhoons and heavy rains. The station, which was the highest in Japan at 3,780 meters, 12,402 feet, was replaced by a fully automated meteorological system. Mount Fuji was added to the World Heritage List as a cultural site in June 22, 2013. The closest airport with scheduled international service is Mount Fuji Shizuoka Airport. It opened in June 2009. It is about 80 kilometers, 50 miles, from Mount Fuji. The major international airports serving Tokyo, Tokyo International Airport, Haneda Airport, in Tokyo and Narita International Airport in Chiba are approximately 3 hours and 15 minutes from Mount Fuji. Approximately 300,000 people climbed Mount Fuji in 2009. The most popular period for people to hike up Mount Fuji is from July to August, while huts and other facilities are operating and the weather is warmest. Buses to the trailheads typically used by climbers start running in July 1st. Climbing from October to May is very strongly discouraged, after a number of high-profile deaths and severe cold weather. Most Japanese climb the mountain at night in order to be in a position at or near the summit when the sun rises. The morning light is called Yulai Guang Goriko, arrival of light. There are 4 major routes to the summit, each has numbered stations along the way. They are clockwise, starting north Kawaguchiko, Subashiri, Gotemba, and Fujinomiya routes. Climbers usually start at the 5th stations, as these are reachable by car or by bus. The summit is the 10th station on each trail. The stations on different routes are at different elevations. The highest 5th station is located at Fujinomiya, followed by Yoshida, Subashiri, and Gotemba. There are 4 additional routes from the foot of the mountain: Shojiko, Yoshida, Sayama, and Murayama routes. Even though it has only the second highest 5th stations, the Yoshida route is the most popular route because of its large parking area and many large mountain huts where a climber can rest or stay. During the summer season, most Mount Fuji climbing tour buses arrive there. The next popular is the Fujinomiya route, which has the highest 5th station, followed by Subashiri and Gotemba. The ascent from the new 5th station can take anywhere between 5 and 7 hours, while the descent can take from 3 to 4 hours. Even though most climbers do not climb the Subashiri and Gotemba routes, many descend these because of their ash-covered paths. From the 7th station to near the 5th station, one could run down these ash-covered paths in approximately 30 minutes. Besides these routes, there are tractor routes along the climbing routes. These tractor routes are used to bring food and other materials to huts on the mountain. Because the tractors usually take up most of the width of these paths and they tend to push large rocks from the side of the path, the tractor paths are off limits to the climbers on sections that are not merged with the climbing or descending paths. Nevertheless, one can sometimes see people riding mountain bikes along the tractor routes down from the summit. This is particularly risky, as it becomes difficult to control speed and may send some rocks rolling along the side of the path, which may hit other people. The 4 routes from the foot of the mountain offer historical sites. The Murayama is the oldest Mount Fuji route, and the Yoshida route still has many old shrines, tea houses, and huts along its path. These routes are gaining popularity recently and are being restored, but climbing from the foot of the mountain is still relatively uncommon. Also, bears have been sighted along the Yoshida route. Huts at and above the 5th stations are usually manned during the climbing season, but huts below 5th stations are not usually manned for climbers. The number of open huts on routes are proportional to the number of climbers. Yoshida has the most while Gotemba has the fewest. The huts along the Gotemba route also tend to start later and close earlier than those along the Yoshida route. Also, because Mount Fuji is designated as a national park, it is illegal to camp above the 5th station. There are 8 peaks around the crater at the summit. The highest point in Japan, Kenga Mine, is where the Mount Fuji radar system used to be. It was replaced by an automated system in 2004. Climbers are able to visit each of these peaks. Paragliders take off in the vicinity of the 5th station Gotemba parking lot, between Subashiri and Hoei-zan Peak on the south side of the mountain, in addition to several other locations, depending on wind direction. Several paragliding schools use the wide sandy, grassy slope between Gotemba and Subashiri parking lots as a training hill.